Hello, it's Crafty Carol here with another little video for you. Sorry, before I start, that I am absolutely full of cold, sadly. Kindly given to me by my daughter, but hopefully it's getting better soon. Today I wanted to look at the Patchwork Pieces dies. These are dies you may not have noticed in the catalogue because they are just dies. They don't match a stamp set or anything. I thought they were rather lovely and I decided to get them. And there are two, as you can see, one with a sort of starburst pattern here and one with this sort of wavy pattern here, which is quite nice. So I wanted to go through how to use them. Now, the one thing I will say is that they are basically sized for US letter size cards. So I have adapted them very slightly to work with our centimetre A4 size cards. You could of course cut your card down to a US letter size and then it would be fine, but let me show you what I've done. So what you need is let me show you this one to take it right from the start. So the one thing about the dies is that because you're going to use I've used alternating patterns for these, so I found it's really easy to cut two at once. So I'll go through what you need. So 2 cards, because we're making 2 with the 2 lots. So 2 card bases, normal card bases, 21 by 14.8, scored at 10.5. And I may well make these landscape, in fact, because I think this die, this one I'm going to make here, actually fits better landscape. I don't know. Yeah, I like it better that way around. So we'll see how we go. So I want 1 piece of layer, so I've cut those, and that is 13 by 8.5, and that's so that I've got the same gap all the way around. The die itself, as you can see, won't actually quite cover that, so it'll be a little bit towards the middle. But hey, let's not worry about that. I think it's going to be fine for this particular pattern. So I also want 2 strips for the sentiment. You can either have a narrow strip or a wide strip, doesn't matter, any strips of card, 10.5. Well, I've done those 10.5 across, but you can then cut them down to whatever you want. And 2 pieces of contrasting DSP. So I've used the lovely Countryside, what is it called? Countryside, something to do with Countryside. Hang on, let me just look and see what it's called, because I've forgotten. Countryside Inn, that's right, designer series paper, which is, again, sadly retiring, I think. But do check with that before you start. You just need 2 contrasting patterns so that they show up the difference between the different sections of the Patchwork Pieces dies. So I've chosen Countryside Inn. I've just realised that's not a good idea actually, because I've cut these longwise and I've got birds, so I might have to do at least one of these, or both of them actually upright. Or let me get another pattern. Another piece here, let's try that one instead. That and that would do, wouldn't it? There we go. Then I can do it sideways, because flowers, doesn't matter which way around you go. Okay, so these pieces, you need 2 of them. They need to be 12.5 centimetres by 8.5 centimetres, or 5 inches by 3.25 inches. So the first thing I'm going to do is run these through my die cut. And because it's DSP, I can actually just run these both through together. So I'm actually going to run both pieces through together. Whoa, put that on, hold it down, there we go. I'll just bring in my machine. Look at this, obviously there's never any room on the desk, is there? Oh, there we go. So here's my machine, using the mini cut and emboss here. Obviously you could use the big one, but these dies do fit in the mini cut and emboss, which is really nice. So I'm going to take those through. Oh, doesn't want to go through, probably because I haven't just moved. Sometimes you need to just overlap these plates a little bit to make it want to go through. Because it can get a little bit stuck. Let's try this again. There we go, that's better. Okay, so I'm taking this through. Obviously with my cold, I'm running out of energy and power in my turn. There we go. So that's taking it through. Just move that out of the way, move my plates out of the way, and there are my cut bits. Whoa, all come off. dropping everything now. I've just knocked the corner off my mat too. Ah, never mind. Right, so that's my frame, which I don't need. Let me get these back in order. So I've got those bits there. Ooh, getting stuck with these bits now. I should have been more careful taking them off, I think. There we go. Right, so there's my pattern. I'm actually going to have it this way around, I think. My other bit at the side, yes, we'll have it that way around. So I've cut both of these bits. Now I'm going to stick them on my backboard pieces. And basically I'm just going to stick alternate colours, if that makes sense. So if I take this centrepiece, I'm going to start with this because I want to get it in the right place in the middle. So I can separate my two pieces. So I've got one pattern and one dark colour. So I'm going to stick those on first. I had great fun playing with this. I'll show you the other die and the cards I've made with that in a minute. I'll just show you this one. So you want to place this so that it's roughly where the die wants to be. So same sort of gap both sides. And if you remember, the die is slightly shorter than my base piece, so I can place it about there. That probably doesn't show up terribly well on the video. Let's hope it does. Let's try this one, see if that's any better. There. So I want the gaps top and bottom to be much the same. So the gap on the bottom of the side and the top to be very similar. So that's my first piece down. And then you just simply alternate the pieces from then on. So I'll probably rush through the video a little bit because this is a bit boring to watch, but you just alternate them. So if I've had a dark blue piece, then I'm going to have a patterned piece next. And you just can use the piece, although I'm sticking them flat, you can use the piece to make sure that each piece is butted up against it. It just butts up against the edge where you stuck it down, which makes it very, very easy once you've got your first piece in place to put the next pieces in. So we're lining it up at the side and at the bottom to make sure that it fits and sits nicely. And then we'll put this corner on next. So that just fits in there very nicely. And the same this side. And we do exactly the same with these pieces. So I'll run through the video very quickly because you don't need to just see me sticking all of these pieces down, but you get the idea. So I'll be back in a second when I've done all these. So finally the last piece on here. There. So you can see I've got the two patterns, which works really well, and I can put each of those on a card. Now I could have them whichever way you want. There's no actual, well, not that way I don't think, but I think I quite like the idea of a landscape bit, and I like the fact that I've got quite a lot of big dark area here that I can put my sentiment in. So I'm going to stamp a sentiment. Let's use, I've got my go-to greetings set, my basic set that I will always use for greetings because they're fabulous. So let's make this one a thank you card. So we'll just have a thank you. There we go. Clean the stamp. Okay, so I'm going to just cut that down, get my trimmer over. I'll make that one up later. I don't need to see me make a second one. I'll just show you this one to finish. So about there would do. I'm just going to take a little trim off the top here. That's better. Wasn't quite right. I get very funny about that sort of thing. There we go. So I think we'll just flag this end. So I can flag it by just cutting in the middle, then coming from each corner to my cut point. Take out those triangles. There's my little banner. And that will sit on there like that. I shall probably put it up on dimensionals. So I'm going to start off by sticking this down on my front of my card. So you can see how quick and easy these are to make. And for each die cut, you get 2 cards because you can use the opposite bits, which is really nice. So stick that in the middle, thereabouts. And then we'll just have a couple of dimensionals on the back of here. There. So there is my swirly waves type one. So I don't know, what do you think? I quite like that one. I think it looks better. I think it looks better landscape personally. Let me show you what the other one looks like. I've already put these cards together because it takes a bit of a while to stick all of these down. So I've nearly finished these. So what I've done with this one is I'm going to have them portrait, as you can see, but because this doesn't fit, it's got a bigger gap top and bottom, I actually decided I'd put the gap in the middle with this particular pattern. So I've separated out where I've stuck the pieces of DSP. You see I've left a gap here and I've used the edge as my marker. So I'm just going to stick my final 2 pieces on here to show you. So that's the first one, just going into that point, and then my second one, just to finish it off. So I've got the gap in the middle, but that gives me the opportunity to use it to stick my sentiment across the middle, as you can see in the first one I've made. So that is the bits put together using this second die. So you can see we've made a card with each of these. I don't know which is my favourite actually. I think I do quite like this because I quite like symmetrical patterns, whereas this one, it's still lovely, and I think I'd still be very happy with that as a thank you card. Anyway, what do you think? Let me know in the comments which one you think is best. I can't decide. Right, the other thing is these would make decent mail cards because because of the colours, but you can obviously make them, jazz them up. You can add extra embellishments. You can add some twine or some embellishments or whatever. So with this one, I've cut a strip that's the whole width of the card and just stamped my sentiment on it. And I'm just going to use some mini dimensionals, if I can get them out of my box. It's a little bit too narrow for the full dimensionals, so we'll use these mini ones just to give me a little line along. And one more. There we go. It's so useful having the 2 sizes of dimensionals. A little bit more fiddly, the mini ones, to take off the backs. But not really. Okay, and then this can sit across. Sorry, my head gets in the way a little bit to make sure it's straight. So it's across like that. Obviously, I didn't cut that quite to 10.5, but I can trim that now. Well, it should have been 10.5, it obviously wasn't. Oh, sorry about my cough. Right, so there we have some cards made with these lovely patchwork dies. Now, they are, as I say, retiring, sadly. So if you do want them, you only have this month to get them, but I think they are on offer. I haven't checked yet. From April the 9th, all of the retiring stuff is available until the stocks run out. So have a think about these because I think they're a jolly useful thing to have whenever you want to make a really simple and quick card. So I hope you've enjoyed that. If you want to see all the measurements and everything are in my blog at craftycarolscards.co.uk. If you've enjoyed this video, please do subscribe to my channel and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye for now.